Welcome to Nerdalysis Unhinged, a series where I talk about subjects related to media and pop culture with no script and no regard for how long I ramble on. This time we're talking Barbie. That's right, I'm late to the game, but the Barbie movie just, I loved it. I enjoyed it and it made me think about Barbie media in my life. And what do you know? There are Barbie video games, and I played a lot of them as a kid. So in this episode, I kind of just wanted to explore the idea that we need to make games for all types of audiences. This video is sponsored by me and my Ko-Fi page. If you like the content you're seeing and want to support me in all my content creation endeavors, you can go to my page at www.ko-fi.com/Lindsay Reskin. Thank you to everyone who supports me. And now back to your scheduled programming. This is my little caveat. This is not a gender discussion. That discussion is important and it will happen. But for this video, I want to focus on the importance of media made for a variety of target audiences. And to do that, I'm going to tell you a story about my life with the Barbie games. As a little kid, I grew up in the 90s. Hooray. And there weren't a lot of gaming options targeted towards little girls, which I was. I was a little girl. I loved Barbie a lot. I loved playing with the dolls. I loved creating stories and ideas and imagining scenarios with them. That was one of my favorite things to do. And an easy entry point into video games for me were the Barbie video games that they had. They had things where you could, work or own a horse ranch and find and rescue horses and find out some magical, powerful friendship with horses. Or one where you were a gymnast and you were on a gymnastics team and you performed routines, designed leotards, all of that stuff, and won medals at competitions. Just a lot of the Barbie games took scenarios that you would play out as a kid potentially with their dolls and made them into game form with full-fledged stories, no matter how terrible they were, but they were stories that you got to play through and you got to interact with. And that was something that I loved doing. I loved being able to play out stories, and I loved playing as a female character, okay? I did, I was fine playing as a male character. Games like Spyro, Kingdom Hearts, whatever it may be. Male protagonists do not bother me, but it was really special to see female protagonists doing the cool stuff that I wanted to do as well. And I think that speaks to why we need representation in media, in video games. It's not to say any one way is a wrong way to do it, but it's to say people like experiencing cool things with a character that they feel represents them. So let's create more of those moments for people. I remember playing Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, and in the original game, you play as a male protagonist, which was fine. I played that game so many times as a kid, but I remember losing it in the store when I saw the cover with a female on it, and it was Another Wonderful Life. It was the same game with a female protagonist, and I loved that because I could better insert myself into the story and get to play out a fantasy of being a farmer and running a farm and having a family on this farm. And to me, that was important as a kid, and I think that is still important for kids today and teenagers and really just anyone. We like to see our experiences reflected in the media we consume. And that's not to say we can't consume media that doesn't reflect our experience. It's just saying variety is nice. Sometimes you want to play outside of your experience, and that's great. And sometimes you want to play within your experience, and that is also great. I think that's something that some RPGs do well. Ones where you can create your own character, create your own experience. That's a lot of fun. But games where it's more story focused, more story driven, and the character has more of a personality. It's not you projecting yourself onto the character, but more you controlling the character and their actions and seeing how their story plays out. I think it's important to have a variety of those main characters as well. A diverse cast of them. And for me, that's what Barbie games did for me. It gave me a chance to play as a female protagonist, to create, to live out stories that I wanted to live out. A lot of the games coming out when I was a younger kid were more male focused because video games were more targeted towards a male audience. That's just the way it was. Little boys played video games, not little girls. And I think that's something that the Barbie franchise and there were other games catered to. Not saying they did it well, and like some of these games weren't great, but these games hold a special place in my heart because they strive to give me an experience that reflected my own life, or I could reflect my life onto. And that's why I think continuing to make diverse games is important, as well as diverse media, diverse books, diverse media. And that's not to say let's silence voices because they're too loud. It's to say everyone wants a chance to be represented, no matter who they are. We like seeing ourselves represented in media. We like being able to put ourselves in the role of protagonists. We like to be able to explore complex ideas through the media we consume. Even when we mindlessly consume things, we are experiencing a life and a story that is not our own. And that is something that video games are really good at, because you are in control of the game to a certain extent. You get to control the character that is making the action happen. You're usually the chosen one in the game because that's how it works. And it's really fun to be able to play these characters and project yourself onto them or learn more about their experience. So I think that this is my call. More diversity in games, or keep it up. There have been a lot of games that come with diverse options or a diverse cast. And that's not to say let's make token characters. That's not what I'm asking for. I just, like to see other people's experience represented in my media. And I also like to see my experience represented in my media. Both can enrich my life, and I think both can enrich the lives of those who play it. One great example is Story of Seasons franchise. For A Wonderful Life, they gave you the option to be a female, male, or non-binary protagonist. And I'm not saying let's go give them an award because they're so far and so progressive or whatever. It's not me saying that, but I'm saying like this representation is important and people are taking notice, especially now that video games are becoming more accessible to people and that you can play them on your phone. The cost of computers has gone way down since they started. I mean, like, you can get a decent entry-level computer. You think about Google and Chrome, and they're bringing mobile games to their Chromebooks or whatever. So video games are a lot more accessible than they were when I was a kid, and I think that gives us the opportunity to tell a lot of great stories from different viewpoints that aren't our own, and as well as are our own viewpoints or are similar to our viewpoints, because that's when people can start to think critically about life, about learning, about all these things. Yes, I'm reading too much into video games, but media affects us whether we think critically about it or not. And I think that's why representation in media is so important, especially for children. These games that I found as a kid that I felt represented me and the kind of things that I wanted to engage with were important because they helped me to discover my love of media, of video games, of stories. They helped me to have a hand in creating stories in a way that a novel or a movie can't do for me. We shouldn't limit who can play what kind of game or only what kind of game should be made. We shouldn't criticize people for wanting to experience something that represents them or putting them down for playing a game that we maybe don't want to play ourselves. Things can be made for you and you can enjoy them, as well as things can be made not for you, and that doesn't make them any less enjoyable or any less than. So let me know in the comments, what were some influential games from your childhood? Definitely the Barbie detective game. That was one I played constantly as a kid. Spyro, also another great one. Kingdom Hearts, first RPG, and that introduced me to my love of RPGs. Let me know in the comments, what were your favorite games as a kid? Okay, thanks, bye.